Mr. Chairman, I want to yield the balance of my time to Mr. Weiner for questions.
I thank the gentleman, Mr. Barbour. Perhaps you and I should both have those white things I have at the UN so we can understand, you can understand my Brooklyn accent and I can understand yours.
We need an interpreter.
But I just want to ask you a couple of questions. I didn't hear you respond, governors respond about these questions about tort reform. You don't want federal tort law to supplant and supersede state tort law, certainly, right?
I thought the question was what happened when we did this in our state,
Well,
and it's been very, very, very beneficial.
Would you agree, I assume you would, that you want state law to supersede federal law? You don't believe there should be a federal tort law, do you?
I think in federal cases, I think there ought to be a federal court if it's
federal-
about federal law. Now,
Well, Mr. Barbour, as you know, there's no such thing as a federal tort right now.
well, if you go into federal court in Mississippi and a case arises in a state law prevails. So we
medical
wouldn't want to change
malpractice-
that.
I can take back my left time. Medical malpractice is a state law. Are you aware of that?
That's correct.
Okay, so you don't want federal law to supersede state medical malpractice tort law?
Not in state cases.
Yeah, I didn't think you did. Can I ask you this question? From the conversation we're having here, you'd think you have any additional costs at all before 2017. Are you both aware that you don't? You have no additional costs before the year 2017.
That's why I said, sir, when I was trying to say what the costs were, they're so backloaded.
Right. Let me ask you this question. Do you anticipate in the future Mississippi will have more or fewer poor people with you as governor?
Depends on the national economy. As long as we've got the economy we got now, we're going to have more. We're going to have more.
No, I understand. But is it your policy, Governor, to reduce the number of poor people in your state?
The policy of our state is to grow the economy and have more people working.
Is that a yes, sir?
That should be the result. Should be the result.
It's more or less a rhetorical question. Of course, you endeavor to have fewer poor people. That would make you a more successful governor, maybe even a candidate for higher office. If you have fewer poor people, wouldn't your Medicaid costs go down?
Well, when we added 60,000 employees my first 3 years as governor, yes, sir, people went off the rolls. Our
Right,
Medicaid
so
costs were better under control.
So if after 2017 you have fewer poor people than today, your Medicaid costs will go down, won't they?
Well, no, they'll actually go up because we're going to put all of these people on Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act.
All right, I'll put it this way.
That are not on it now.
Well, let me put it out in terms of the law. Under the Affordable Care Act, people eligible will have a family of 4 making $30,000 a year will be the maximum coverage under the increase under the Affordable Care Act. Starting in 2017, when the federal government stops absorbing 100% and absorbs 95% of that, if your number of poor people goes down a sufficient amount, if you're a good governor and your number of poor people goes down, your Medicaid costs will go down, won't they?
The definition of poor and eligible for Medicaid are two different
I just
things.
gave you the definition,
the number of
sir.
people eligible for Medicaid will go up.
30,000 for a family of 4 will be the new limit. If it goes down and you do a good job as governor, fewer poor people, lower Medicaid across the state. I would endeavor that you should
Gentleman's time has
pursue that
expired.
Not compared to today, Congressman.
No, that's exactly the number I gave you is the new limit.
The gentleman's time has expired.